So we want to look for some common denominators here. We're adding and subtracting fractions or rational expressions. And so factoring usually leads us to that. But just taking a look at this, the only factoring I see is this one term, and it is a messy trinomial. So normally I like to just kind of go step by step through everything, but because that's the only part that needs a little extra work, maybe we can do a little aside. So we'll do factoring, and we'll say 3x squared, and we'll split that. We'll use the procedural way to factor this. And we stop and we say, what are two numbers that add to our minus 5 in the middle and multiply to 3 times 2 is 6. So minus 3x minus 2x would do the trick. So we'll factor out of the first group, and we have 3x would work. We're left with x minus 1. And factor out of the second group, minus 2, and again, x minus 1. So if we pull the x minus 1 out to the front, we are left with x minus 1, 3x minus 2, and we have it factored. So let's go back to our problem. Let's start laying things out. 4x, 3x minus 2 minus 5x plus 2 all over, and our factored version is x minus 1, 3x minus 2, and we'll do a little bit of this just to make it easy to see exactly where everything came from in our solution. And our last one, 3x squared over x minus 1. So here we are, factored and ready to go. So when we look at it, we have to stop and think, what would be our common denominator that would allow us to bring these together? Well, x minus 1 times 3x minus 2 would involve everything that's shown in the denominators here. So let's go ahead with that. So for the first one, we have 3x minus 2. All right, and in order to get that common denominator that we've established, we would have to multiply that by x minus 1. And now we have it. But whatever we do to the bottom, we'll do to the top. Keep things legit. Now, that second one, we have nothing that we have to do to that because it already has the common denominator in place. And so we're good to move on to the third one. And the third one, we have x minus 1, but for the common denominator, we would have to multiply that by 3x minus 2. And whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top. And there we go. So common denominators are all in place. So it's just a matter of 3x minus 2, x minus 1. Let's clean up the numerators. Numerator. 4x times x is 4x squared. 4x times minus 1 is minus 4x. We move on to the next one. Remember the minus in between there, that impacts both of the terms on the top, 5x and minus 2. And once again, we have the negative there, and so minus 3x squared times 3x would be minus 9x to the 3, and minus 3x squared times negative 2 would be plus 6x squared. All right, so we are ready to do some cleaning up here. On the bottom, nothing has changed. And on the top, we can start collecting things. So we'll start at the biggest one, 9x to the 3. And then x squared, so we have a 6 and we have a 4, so we have plus 10x squared. And then just x terms, we have a minus 5 and a minus 4, so minus 9x. And then we have a minus 2 at the very end. And that would be our final answer.